We all become very cognizant of Jack and his story, and when Alibaba went public with the largest IPO in history, we knew a lot more about him. So I want to talk about his personal story. I want to talk about how many times he tried and failed and what kept him going. I want to talk about where he is today and how he got there. I begin with this question. Why are you back at Davos? It's been a long break. For 7 years, I think my last trip here was in years 2008. But I was coming for the year 2001 for the young global leader for tomorrow. And I think I remember I never hear about Davos when I came. But when I came into Switzerland, so many young people demonstrate. It was just a horrible scene, and I asked them, what are they doing? They said, anti-globalization. And I said, why? Globalization is a great thing. Why people don't like it? And then we came all the way for 2 hours here. There's a machine gun. There's a people checking us. Oh God, is this a film or is a prison? What is that? But when I joined the forum as a young global leader, I was thrilled by so many ideas. For the first 3 to 4 years, I learned what the globalization mean, what the cooperative citizenship mean, what the social responsibility mean. All these new ideas, and I saw many great leaders talking about leadership, and I benefited a lot. In the year 2008 and 9, when the financial crisis came, I thought it's better to go back to work because we can never win the war by talking. So go back, spend 7 years. Now I came back. I think it's time to do something. In return, I learned so much 12 years ago. So why should I not be talking to the young global leader of today, sharing with them how we gone? So that's what the thing. Let's start with where you are today. Just how big is Alibaba? How many people come every day? How many people come in a week? How fast it is growing? Yes, we have over 100 million buyers visiting our site, shop on our site every day. And we create 100 million every day. We created 40 million jobs for China directly and indirectly. And we grew from 18 people to 30,000. 18 people in my apartment to now we have 4 big campuses. Compared to 15 years ago, we were big, but compared to 15 years later, we still a baby. How big will you be 15 years from now? I think 15 years ago, I told my team that 50 years, in the past 50 years, we grew from nothing to this size. And 50 years later, I want people to see and know about Alibaba because it's already everywhere. I want 15 years ago, when we talked about what is e-commerce, why small business can use this e-commerce, use the internet, can do business across the nation. And I hope 15 years later, people forget about e-commerce because we think it's like electricity. Nobody thinks it is a high tech today. This is something that I don't want 50 years later. We still walk on the street talking about why and how e-commerce can help people. You try to get into 3 colleges. Each time they reject. No, I tried. There is an examination that young people, if you want to go university, you have to take the examinations. So I failed 3 times, but I failed a lot of things. I failed for funny things. I failed a K primary school test 2 times, and I failed 3 times for the middle school. And you will never believe in Hangzhou, my city. There's only one middle school that lasts only 1 year. It was changed from primary school to middle school because our graduates of our school, no middle school accept us because we're too bad. It could become a middle school. What effect did it have talk being rejected? Well, I think we have to get used to it. We're not that good. Even today, we still have a lot of people reject us. I think when I graduate from universities and before, for 3 years I try and fail to get into university. So I applied to jobs for 30 times, got rejected. I went for police, they say no, you're not good. I went to even the KFC, when KFC came to China, came to my city, 24 people went for the job. 23 people were accepted. I was the only guy.
24 people went for the job. 23 people accepted. I was the only guy.
And we went for police. 5 people. 4 of them accepted.
5 people, 4 of them accepted. I was the only guy.
I was the only guy that never received it. So, to me, being turned down, rejected. Oh, by the way, I told you that's when I applied for Harvard for 10 times, rejected. I know I would be rejected. They're sorry now. 10 times. You wrote them and said I lied to come to Harvard. Yes, and then I told myself someday I should go teach there one day. I think that can be arranged. Richard Nixon came to Hangzhou, and after that, tourists flooded the place. And that's how you learn English. Yes, I realized I don't know why, at 12, 13 years old, at the time I suddenly fell in love with the language English,
into the language, the English. And
and there's no place you can learn English at that time.
learn English at that time. There's no book,
There's no books, English books.
English books.
So I went to the Hangzhou Hotel, now called Hangzhou Shangri-La Hotel,
Shangri-La Hotel
because that was the hotel that received the foreign visitors.
can receive the foreign visitors.
So every morning for 9 years, I
years
showed them around as a free guide,
free guide,
and they taught me English.
and
And I think that's trained me. Tuesday,
came to me.
I'm 100% made in China.
I never got
I never got 1 day training outside of China. And when people talk to me and say, Jack, how can you speak English like that? Why do you sometimes talk like the Western guys? I think that was the 9 years.
the 9 years.
These Western tourists opens my mind
Tourists opened my mind
because everything they told me was so different
everything they told me are so different
from the thing I learned from the school and from my parents.
So now I have
So now I have a habit. Whatever I see, whatever read or use my mind,
whatever I see, whatever I read, I use my mind.
think about doing business. That's how Ma Yun
Is that how Ma Yun
became Jack Ma.
actually
Actually, Jack, the name was given by a lady in tennis.
tennis?
She is a tourist. She came here and she said, came to Hangzhou. We became pen friends. Ma Yun's is so difficult to pronounce.
Friends, Ma Ring is so difficult to pronounce.
So she said, do you have an English name? I said no.
Do you have an English name? I said, don't. It's okay.
Can you give me an English name? She said, okay. She said, my father's called Jack, my husband called Jack.
Think about Jack.
What do you think about?
So she said, do you? So she said, do you have an English name? I said, don't. So can you give me an English name? She said, okay. She said, my father called her Jack. My husband called Jack.
What do you think about Jack? I said, good.
About Jack. I said, good. So did you do that?
So I've been using that for many years.
First visit to
First visit to America, 1995.
America, 1995.
1995, yes. I came here for a project helping the local government
Helping the local government
to build a highway.
And you
And you try the internet. I tried the internet in Seattle and in the building called the US Bank. I don't know whether the US Bank is still there or not, but it's a building.
It's a building.
And my friend opens a small office which is like only 10% bigger than this room, and there's a lot of computers in there. And he said, Chase, this is internet.
This is internet.
I asked, what's internet? He said, search whatever you want. At that time, they use Mosaic very slow. And I said, I don't use it. I don't want to type because computers so expensive in China.
It's so expensive in China.
If I destroy it, I cannot pay.
I cannot pay.
Right.
He said,
He said, just search it.
Đây đây đây.
So I searched the first word,
search it.
beer.
So I searched the first word of beer. I don't know what
I don't know why, because it's easy to spell.
easy to spell, baby. And I see
And I see beers from Germany, beers from USA, beers from Japan,
Japan, but there's no.
but there's no beer from China. And I say, okay,
And I say, okay, type the
try the second word, China,
second word is
no
China.
data.
No data.
Nothing.
And I say
Nothing. 1995. 1995. No data about China. So I talked to my friend. Why don't I make something? Why don't I make something about China?
Think about China.
So we made a small, very ugly looking page called China.
Very ugly looking page called China.
It's about
It's something like
I did a translation against it and we list on there.
so
It
shocking.
was so shocking. We launched at 9:14 in the morning. 12:30 I got a phone call from my friend who said, Trace, you know you got 5 emails. I said, what's his email? And he says, these are the things. He said, people are so excited. Where are you? This is the first time I see a Chinese website on that.
This is the first time I see a Chinese website on that.
How can we? When can we do something together?
Can we do something together?
So I think this is something interesting. So we should do it.
Something interesting. So we should do it.
What if you call it Alibaba?
Alibaba?
Alibaba? Well, when I started, I think internet is global. We should have a global name and a name that is interesting. Like at that time, the best name was Yahoo. So I've been thinking for many days, and suddenly Alibaba is a good name. So I happened to be in San Francisco that day, and I had lunch, and the waitress came. I asked her, do you know about Alibaba? She said yes. I said, what is Alibaba? She says, Open Sesame. Open Sesame. Good. So I ran down the street and asked 10, 20 people. They all know about Alibaba and the 40 Thief and Open Sesame. And I think this is a good name. And it starts with A. Whatever you talk about, Alibaba's always on top.
Whatever you talk about, Alibaba's on top.
You have said before that in creating Alibaba, you had to create trust.
In creating Alibaba, you had to create trust.
Because people in China were used to face-to-face. How did you create trust? I think because we start out doing business on the internet. I don't know you, you don't know me. So how can you do things online unless you have trust? So for e-commerce, the most important thing was trust. I think when I first went to the US for raising money, talked to the venture capitalists, a lot of people say, oh Jack, no. China doing business via Guanxi. How can you do business on the internet? And I know that without the trust of the system, the credit system, it's impossible to do business. So within the past 14 years, everything we do is trying to build up the trust system, the record system. Well, Charles, you know, I'm so proud today. Today, in China and in the world, people don't trust each other. The government and people and media and everybody thinks, oh, this guy cheating. But because of e-commerce, we finish
we finish 60
16 million transactions every day.
transactions every day.
People don't know each other.
I don't
I don't know you. I send product to you.